Super talented players, each and every single one of them. 8-ball flying right off the rip from the Batman. And he is tracking towards that corner pocket, but it won't reach. And other than that, the break is dry. So the Batman heads to his bat chair. And it'll be the Chambers who get first poke at frame number 1.
Good layout as well. Just need to kind of pick their route, work it out. It'll be the yellows. They'll play on the plant to bottom left. So it'll be what do they play on after that? Could make the case for you wanting to see the 2 in the middle of the table. Maybe you want to get rid of the one that's kind of nearest the 8-ball, so that you open up the right centre pocket for the other one once you've played the plant. But maybe getting ahead of ourselves here, because there's so many different ways you can go about this finish. There is no one way. It's just making sure you've got a clear plan. The only problem with, I mean, if you play the plant, you don't want to. Got to be careful that you don't let that ball drift away from the pocket here. I do think there's a case for getting rid of the one nearest the 8-ball, though. Doesn't look like they're going to do that.
Extension.
Well, they dealt with that well. But if they do play the one over the pocket now, they're going to go into the reds. That's why I would have liked the one nearest the 8-ball gone, because then they could have gone right centre and not had that problem. And you still would have had to get on the 8-ball. It's just one of those fiddly finishes that should be really easy but can go wrong. And that might have gone wrong. Are they on anything here?
Oh, it's a well-judged shot. Any more pace, and he was in a lot of bother.
It's a terrible angle to get on the 8-ball. May just have to accept a double. May not be able to get on it in any other way. Is he straight enough to top through without going into the reds? He is.
Oh, you better believe it.
Very, very good. Notice how he didn't overhit that. The harder you hit that, the wider it throws, the more delayed reaction on the topspin, and he hit it at a beautiful pace.
Yeah, would I be right in thinking their side that the key was in the timing rather than the power of that shot?
Getting a spin on the ball and not overhitting it. That was excellent. So I think there was a cleaner route out there. It's easy to sit in the commentary box and say that, but they dealt with the problems they gave themselves at the back end.
These two will be under no illusions. They knew this night might have a few of those moments for them. A dry break and cleared by their opponents. What I love about these two is they are yappers. They'll be in each other's ear constantly, all the way through the night, good or bad or indifferent. They'll be helping each other along, they'll be talking each other through it. What a break. What a break from John Chambers. He has hit those an absolute dream. This is picture perfect.
Look at that, right up the middle of the table. And he's got the layout to match as well. This is kind of a dot-to-dot finish, really.
For those who, I say those who, for me and for those others who weren't in attendance for John's performance at the last Pro Series where he ran to the final, just how good was he, how impressive was he in the run to the big game and in the final itself?
He really was, and he got stronger with every round. You know, he started well, but he you know, speaking to him, he said he came in a little bit underprepared. He's still trying to figure out his kind of practice setup and get himself really ready to you know, to kind of take his game to the next level, which is incredible to say, really, considering how well he's done. But yeah, he was fabulous, and it was something special from Chris that stopped him from winning the title.
That was a very well played shot from John Chambers. Might have looked at first glance that he almost missed it, but he had to play it on the thick side to land exactly there. And from here, it is pretty unmissable for a player of John's caliber. Very, very classy visit to the table, this. All very well saying they're all there and he should get them. But actually doing that can be a whole different ball game. But this has never been in doubt from John Boyd. And this is a serious start from the brothers Chambers. Two-nil.
I never like giving players frames just off the break when you say, oh, that should be gone. It was a beautiful layout. It would have taken something, a big error from John not to get them. It was very, very nice the way he put that together.
The little flex between John and his daughter there was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I love as well that all the Chambers clan, well, the little ones, have all come in their sort of respective dads playing shirts as well, which I think is really lovely.
Absolutely love it.
Joked with Eddie before the match started when I saw them all lined up on the side of the arena. I said, this is an away match for you guys, isn't it?
That's what they're hoping. Well, that's what the Chambers brothers are hoping.
Fabulous break from Lethal Leary. He hits that cut break so well. And he does get first opportunity in frame number 3. This is the first shot that either Dylan or Eddie will be playing. That's not a break shot, and they're already 2-0 down.
These yellows are lovely. He just doesn't have one. He doesn't have the yellows. The yellows are all there. He doesn't have an opener. How tough is that? You just watch your opponents take out 2 very good finishes, but in your chair you're thinking, oh, this is such a good layout, you know, and then you break and you get that. Don't get me wrong, he should still make that red. That was scoreboard pressure that kind of put the miss on there, because the reds were still doable, but it's almost harder when the yellows in your own mind are unmissable.
Do you think as well there's maybe a case for Dylan calling his extension there? He played that shot with
definitely
a second and a half left of the shot clock, and you felt like he was under it there. But of course he still had his extension to play.
Yeah.
Might just have been worth it. I know he's confident on the beeps. He's had so much experience out there in the arena. But on that, such a key shot like that, when you've got it in your back pocket, maybe worth just...
Well, you got it there for a reason. You know, you're absolutely right. It's a big mistake not to use it if you felt under pressure to hit and your timing was off there. You know, we've seen other players on key shots just call it anyway. Not that they're going to use the time, but just to make sure they're not playing the shot under the beat pressure. It was the key shot, because I did expect Dylan still to get the reds. There was no issue with the reds. They were just harder than the yellows. They all went, though. They all had a pocket. They just had to work a cue ball around and get on the one on the cushion and everything else. But every ball actually went. Only thing, he may have blocked off the 8-ball top left. It might still be on. It's difficult to tell from our angles. Main camera looks like it is, and the overhead makes it look like it isn't, because that's now blocked off. It's just, you've got to mind your work a touch more to get on it nicely. That's probably why he's taken a few extra seconds here. Otherwise, this is fairly basic, because you don't have to come up as high.
Oh, plant next.
He might have come too far here, because I was thinking you finish low on the one nearest the left centre and you're falling into the red, which leaves you fine to get on the 8-ball, unless the 8-ball doesn't go top left.
Got to be careful with this. Making it's not the issue, but what happens to that second ball?
It's a bad angle. All depends on the gap. If it goes, no problem whatsoever, because you're just pulling it back. If not, you might have to drop it in and take a very awkward 8-ball. We'll know after he plays this shot.
Well, he is playing it with bottom.
well, it goes. That's a poor shot if this goes, because he could have pulled it back a huge amount more, and it made this easier, especially if this is not the full pocket.
Unless he's playing it to top right. No, it's top left.
Can't be. Yeah, that was a very poor shot on the yellow. He had all the room in the world. He could have pulled back as far as the cushion and back again. So if that's the window of being on that 8-ball, he had the whole way to the cushion and back to not to be on it better than he was. And if it's tight, you want to be as straight as possible, have everything in your eye line. So
yeah,
big mistake that from Rob.
Yeah, and an uncharacteristic one as well. Those are the shots that he really builds his reputation as a team player on.
And actually, the two shots before that was a poor one as well, where he pulled it back too far and had to play the plant. If he just pulls it back a few inches, pots the ball and falls into the red, you're going to be perfect on the 8-ball as well. So a couple of small errors that all force their way to messing up there and not taking out the finish.
I think Dylan's going to continue to go, but he has got a small problem at the top of the table, and the two reds that have fallen together, because they don't go as a plan. I don't think either of them goes independently of the other.
Maybe the top one, but it's very tight. And if he has to play into them, then every chance you tie one up with the 8-ball.
Not playing into them here, he is. That's such a good shot, because he played it from the other side. The reds were always going away from the 8.
Yeah, but the line he had there, if he gets that line wrong by a ball, he pots the 8-ball there. It's not beyond the realms there that he, that was...
That's why it's such a good shot.
It's a complete control of his cue ball. Beautiful shot.
You said it a lot on this show over the last 5 years, so I've done an awful lot of listening to in that time, believe it or not. I know the feeling isn't always mutual.
Can you not find someone better to listen to?
Don't give me any ideas. But one of the things that I know is a real mantra of yours is for players who are struggling to find a breakthrough on the Pro Series side of things, is to go and win elsewhere. Find your confidence from winning smaller tournaments and all the rest of it. Dylan looks to me, early signs here, but that shot was such a confident shot. Looks to me like a confident man right now, and in winning the tournament they did a couple of weeks ago in a quality field for big money, who wouldn't be confident?
Well, one thing Dylan has done a lot with Ultimate Pool through the Ultimate Pool era is win a lot away from Ultimate Pool. He's won an awful lot of seniors events and other events as well, not just seniors events, including the one a few weeks ago. So it's just difficult to make the breakthrough on this higher stage. He must be as frustrated as any player on the tour for me, and I kind of just get that sense, because he knows that he's played at times at a level where he's played well enough to win tournaments, but it's just so hard to do. Yeah,
and I think I'd put him in a similar camp at the start of this season to where Aaron Davies was. They both had quite similar Ultimate Pool careers, and said they're both knocked pretty hard. They both had pretty heartbreaking losses with the 6 red shootout, and everyone sort of knows that they're both good enough to get that breakthrough. Aaron managed it earlier on this year. He's been to another final since. I just feel like that's the next big step for Dylan. Of course, not easy to do that. It's so much easier to say than it is to do. John Chambers breaks off then. It's another perfectly hit break from John Boy, who hands the table over to Chambers Sr.
And it's another lovely layout. A little bit more work than their first two that they took out, but it's another lovely layout. It would be a fabulous layout if they could fall on the yellows. I think I'd rather be yellows because of the red nearest the right centre pocket, but they don't have that option. They don't have unless they want to take on a very awkward one they're next to bottom left. I'm not even sure that's a great option. So first shot could be the toughest one here. But if they can get into this visit, come down to one positional shot. Very nearly flicked the red that is the problem out in that one shot. If it just grazes it, it comes out lovely. I think they're okay here. This red does pass the 8-ball to top corner. Now, you could play on the underside of this red. You could play into this red maybe if the yellow's not in the way, but it might be. Yeah, they just played on the underside of it. So the big shot's coming up now for Rob. think he has to take this red to top right. I don't think he can drop it in the centre. It's just too low. It is just off the cushion. It's not quite touching. But when you're right behind these sorts of shots, you really fancy making these.
Very well. In a strange way, I think the mistake that Rob made in his singles frame would have fired him up even more, would have tightened that focus to an even sharper level.
I agree. You'll be disappointed not to have taken it out, and 3-0 would have been huge. John's taken the double there. He could have potted that directly, but if he could have slid off the yellow and actually snooked himself on the next ball, the double just took all that out of play and just guaranteed the positional side of the shot. So excellent from John and Rob to take out the two balls in that way to make it easy.
Yeah, he'll take this. This for 3-1 with less than 4 minutes to play. How many of those 8 balls has Rob Chambers potted down the years? Chambers clan fired up.
Comes down to chances, doesn't it, when you get to this level? Right now, chances are all going those two's way.
Well, they're so heavily weighted, aren't they? Ultimately, Eddie and Dylan have had 2 chances. Dylan burned one, took the other. Eddie's not had a go in this match. We said at the start of the night that might happen. It's happening for Eddie Barker right now.
Frame 5.
He has been a mere spectator.
3 frames to 1.
He's not going to play the next frame either. On it goes to Lethal Leary.
Have to be ready though. Got to believe that Dylan's going to give him the opportunity to go and tie it up in the last frame, or there'll be time for it to be tied up. But it's another dry break. The chances are just going the way of the Chambers boys right now.
You can't put a price on opportunity on a night like this. It is everything. On a night where all 4 pairs are so good, where the level's expected to be high, the most important thing is getting the opportunities to win. You can argue that's the most important thing in any game of pool, but particularly in these really short formats, it is A1.
Yeah, huge. It's so important. And now we're in the second stage, it just elevates even more. There's more frames are going to be taken out of the break, more chances are going to be taken. Saw John's discussed there where he just sat on that ball rather than there being just the tiniest gap to be on the one right centre. So hope here for Dylan, because there wasn't much of a safety available for John, and he hasn't played much of a safety.
He's just sort of turned it over, really.
Turned it over, but the one red that's potentially awkward, he could actually go and deal with straight away. Depends on the natural line here.
So this time uses extension, went under shot clock pressure, and hasn't that come out well for Lethal Leary?
The one red that was potentially awkward is no longer. Now it's just hold your nerve and try and give Eddie Barker as much time as possible, although it will be Rob Chambers' break. It's difficult, isn't it? Because you've got to find the balance between making sure of the finish that you're meant to get, which he is, and doing it quickly enough that there's time left on the clock for Eddie Barker. He's taking a little bit too long here for me. You wanted to leave maybe a minute 15, minute 20. Shots.
A little G up from his buddy in the corner.
Was clever, but he's a little short. I think he would have liked to have been on the one by the 8 ball. He's not quite there.
This just needs watching. Not a load of room for that 3 ball. Not a load of room.
Come on, Joe. Come on.
And you can hear the rev up from Rob Chambers. The chance goes a-begging for Dylan Leary.
Come on.
Lovely shot.
So this is just about clock management and match management. Pop the 3 open balls, job done. Well, 2 of them really. Dylan will be so annoyed there. He really will.
Just had the legs to make this pretty simple, but in truth, this is going to be his last shot really required.
Let's go, Dill. Come on.
Or is it? Can Dylan wrap this up and give themselves any form of hope? Even wrapping it up is going to be difficult.
You need a golden duck as it is, but you might not even leave that. This could be a buzzer beater finish.
Yes, Dill.
Brilliant pot, but the cue ball is going to keep on moving, which means it's not enough. There won't be another break. Dylan Leary didn't quite have the time. It's all smiles at the end of the match for both pairs, but very much the happier of the two are the Chambers brothers, who get the job done. 3-2 victory for John and for Rob, and they join Kristi Caulfield and Phil Parkin at the top of the group.